Even from my own experience, I know that many beginner artists may have some difficulties with mixing skin tones. My name is Nick, this is my art channel, and I think I can help with that. In this video, I will show you a very simple and generic method that I use myself. So without further time wasting, let's get started. I think the main reason we may have some difficulties with skin tones is, paradoxical as it may sound, the abundance of paints available. Thanks to advances in chemistry, we now have access to a variety of colors that artists of past centuries could only dream of. However, this abundance is often confusing. So today I suggest we turn to a limited palette of just 4 basic colors. You may have heard of the so-called Zorn Palette, named after the Swedish artist Anders Zorn, who mainly uses it in his works. This is a very interesting topic, and I think we will definitely talk about it in more detail in one of my next videos. But now let's get back to the colors on my palette. So, we have titanium white, yellow ochre, cadmium red, and ivory black. First of all, let's mix a nice orange color which will serve as the base for our skin tones. I take yellow ochre and cadmium red and mix them together. Keep in mind that cadmium red is a very bright and saturated pigment, so add it little by little. Then we add titanium white. And there you have it. The first shade is ready. You can also make it lighter by adding more white. Now let's mix the color for the shadows using the same base of yellow ochre and cadmium red. But this time, instead of titanium white, we'll add some ivory black. You can see that the mixture has taken on a slightly greenish tint. This is because ivory black has a bluish tint, and when interacting with yellow ochre, it behaves like blue. Just keep that in mind. We can easily get rid of this green by adding more red to our mixture. Just look at the incredibly beautiful warm brown color we have achieved. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Pure chocolate. Just beautiful. So you can see how quickly and easily we've mixed 2 basic skin tones, light and dark, for light areas and for shadows. Easy, quick, and most importantly, beautiful. Let's try mixing another shade, this time more yellowish. You can see that by changing the amount of each pigment in the mixture, we can get a wide variety of shades. Experiment. A limited palette is a very good way to learn how to mix colors correctly. Understand how pigments work together. Understand what results you can expect from mixing certain colors. You need to know your palette well. You see, only 4 colors, but with them you can paint absolutely any portrait. The main idea here is that a limited palette has unlimited possibilities. Just learn and experiment. Look at these beautiful shades, and it's extremely easy. I hope I have managed to prove that to you today. And now let's see how these colors look not only on the palette, but also in a painting. You may have already seen this guy. I had a video on my channel where I showed how I did the underpainting for this scene. If you haven't seen it, you can watch it here. I decided that since we're talking about mixing skin tones, it would be logical to finally finish this little sketch. I don't have a goal right now to make a finished detailed painting a masterpiece. I just want you to see clearly what the color mixes we talked about today look like in a painting. There are countless ways to achieve good realistic skin tones, that's for sure. But it seems to me that in the early stages of learning to paint, this is the simplest and most importantly, the most useful one. In general, I believe that the process of learning to paint should begin with a very limited palette. Because mixing colors can be a very complex process and it's easy to get lost in it. So by limiting yourself in the number of pigments you use, you can greatly simplify the task. But most importantly, you can get the opportunity to study the behavior of paints thoroughly. Imagine, for example, that you have only two colors, titanium white and ivory black. And when you start adding white to black, you will see that a bluish tint appears. And you wouldn't know this otherwise, because in its pure form it just looks black. What I'm trying to say here? I'm trying to say that an artist must know their palette. This will eliminate a huge number of surprises and mistakes in the process. It's much better to have only a few colors on your palette that you know and know how to work with, than, for example, 10 that confuse and bewilder you. Another thought that came to mind while I was working and which I would like to share with you. I am looking at my painting and once again realizing how important the imprimatur is. It really sets the overall tone for the entire work. See for yourself. The imprimatur seems to shine through the layers of paint and creates a generalized harmonious tone for the entire painting. I have a video on this topic, by the way, so you can also watch it if you are interested. In this case, the color of the imprimatur is very close to the colors of the figure, and I will add the dark background so that you can see better and focus your attention directly on the tones of the figure, like this. And of course, a few details, a couple of finishing touches. I want to liven up my image a little. Just a few strokes. Beard, hair, face, just a little, without going into excessive detail. Besides, the format of the painting is very small, which significantly limits my possibilities. Well, I think it's time to stop. I think it turned out to be a pretty good illustration for our topic today. Don't forget to experiment and practice, and remember that a limited palette has unlimited possibilities. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions, as usually, please write them in the comments and I will be happy to answer them. I wish you all the best and creative success, and see you in the next video. Bye!